Hey everybody, it's Kevin Valdes here again. So I'm going to be talking today about Daniel chapter 11. But Daniel chapter 11 really starts off in Daniel chapter 10. And so if you are keeping track with the daily reading plan, in Daniel chapter 10, an angel approaches Daniel, and Daniel is given a vision by the angel. And the angel tells Daniel that this vision are of things to come, things in the future. And you start seeing this vision start off in chapter 10, and it overflows into chapter 11 and really ends there. And now if you were reading chapter 11, you might be reading and you're like, man, what is going on here? It is kind of confusing, and really when you're reading it, it's talking about wars, it's talking about the kingdom of the north versus the kingdom of the south, and even at some point you see family betrayal, and it just goes on for a while. And really what's going on there, I'm not going to go too in depth with it, but the main summary of chapter 11 is really this vision of future wars and future rivalries and future kingdoms that will rise and fall in the future. And so and so that's the vision that Daniel's getting. And I wanted to highlight one quick thing in chapter 11 that I just thought was really interesting, and I thought just unique because it stood out to me. And what happens is, as he's sharing this vision, he mentions about this one kingdom that's just going to start taking over, and this king is different than the rest. Commentators say that this is kind of foreshadowing the Antichrist, but this king is so against God, and that's the main thing. That's the heart of this king that's talking about. This king is so against God, and what he's doing is he's not only just against God, but he's against God's people, and he begins to persecute God's people. And as he's persecuting, he's tearing down the temple and really just desecrating anything that's of the Lord. It says that there are people, and this is specifically in chapter 11, verse 32. And it says that as he's persecuting and taking down God and God's people, it says that, but those who know their God will resist them. And so it doesn't go in depth. It doesn't give us more than that. It's really just that one verse that stood out to me. But it made me start wondering, okay, why is it that those who know who their God is will resist the enemy? And I can go on for a while for this, but the main thing that I got from that is the reason why the people of God are able to resist the enemy is because they know him. It's because they know he's worth it. And it's just similar to actually Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Whether we live or die, we're going to honor the Lord. And so that's really the heart of these people. And so how do they get this heart? How are they so faithful till the end? How are they willing to go through persecution? How are they able to endure? Well, it's simple. It's because they know who their God is. And that's my encouragement for you guys today, is that we are able to live faithful lives. We're able to endure through any temptation, any spiritual warfare, any enemy. We are able to endure, and we are able to have that same exact attitude of, whether in life or death, I will honor the Lord. Or how Paul says it, I think in Philippians, to live is Christ and to die is gain. To have that attitude in the heart simply comes from knowing who your God is. And the more that you learn who God is, the more you're going to realize, man, how worthy he is to live and to die for. Man, you're going to realize, man, he is so worth honoring, and he is so worth glorifying with my entire life. And it's simple, really, the practical step in that. How do we know God today in 2020? How do we get to know the one true living God in an intimate and personal way? It's simple. It's through his word. God gave us his word so that we can know him deeply as we are known by him. And so I encourage you guys, as you guys are going through this daily reading plan through Daniel, and as you guys are just going through the word, man, ask God to give you a hunger to know him more, because that's what it's all about. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you guys enjoy reading the rest of Daniel.